Ernani, you might not have met. I told you about.
Yes.
As to what year?
That's so pleasure to meet you.
Congratulations, and people of this state are grateful to you for having come and contributed so much to the suffering.
It's our pleasure. This is
That's
such
Dr.
an honor.
B.S. Sridhar,
Hi.
a radiologist
Nice to meet you.
and a social activist.
Oh.
Hi, Alicia. Hi, Chris.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Hello, I'm Katie. I've been friend of Surya for the last 35 years.
Only.
Yes. Quote unquote mentor.
Hi, Alicia. Thank you.
Okay. You
Yeah. So, okay. So, come.
Yeah. Sit down. Relax. All the show is over.
Surya, congratulations. What a beautiful office.
Thank you. Yeah. It was fantastic. Meeting last night too with the local medical doctors in the community. So we have a good understanding now. Everybody wants to collaborate and move forward. They said that they will continue doing the medical care. Very positive.
I think almost about 1,700 patients registered. That's a big number. And 9 surgeries.
Yes.
You already knew he's into blood bank.
Yeah.
Or just you called him by chance.
I think I knew, but it was a passing reference sometime, like when I met him, he mentioned, I wasn't very sure, but I knew if there was a possibility.
Very comfortable.
That was amazing actually. Like you started what? Immediately the phone call and you were already on the road again.
Rashida told me I have ordered one already. I told him, let me get it. I don't want to give it back. They might be little late.
Yeah.
So because this all the formalities are over, let me get it.
Demographics,
Let's have a look at it.
No, not this. We'll continue to do everything.
I think they can modify the existing one. The
No,
first
only
page has a
VAA.
demographic.
We just need one VAA one, so that the data is
Along
entered
with
and
that findings can be collected.
Yeah. On a regular basis, we can.
She
look
just
at
has
the
to
data.
tick that, okay, that she's saying that's validation,
Yes.
top margin information.
And with Surya's database, we can really track it very well. Everything really came together. Fantastic. It's all ordeal. Yes.
Surya was telling you that we're doing VAA activity.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You recruited somebody, right? Yeah, okay. That's great actually. That's wonderful news. Wonderful news.
Because I can't tell my wife to go and do every time. So she'll train somebody and then if it goes on, it's good now. That's how it has to be actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's how it has to
That's the whole purpose.
Because doctors will never do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll never do that.
We're ready actually. We can start the presentation. Sure. Okay. All our chiefs. Sunil, GT, hi, product specialist, पूरा ही and global product. Another senior, TV like senior most, GT is the senior most. All this like real pillars, foundation, copy, that's.
Good evening to everybody. Life is great when shared through service with integrity. We are honored today with the presence of the eminent Dr. Ernani Visit, Dr. Chris Palmer, and Team LIG. I welcome Mr. K.D. Visit, Mr. Rajshekhar, Mr. Vijay, and Dr. Jain. Thank you all for coming here. Today we are here to felicitate Dr. Ernani and Team LIG, the team of LIG Global Foundation, for the stupendous success of the free medical camp they held in Vikarabad. LIG Global Foundation is a not-for-profit organization that provides free medical services to people in need around the world by bringing together dedicated medical and non-medical volunteers, supplies and technology. They have inspired medical volunteers amongst their age by educating healthcare professionals and by reaching out with medical missions to the underserved. They proved their dedication to this cause with a free medical camp in Vikarabad held from 20th of October to the 24th, where they served over 1,500 patients. They conducted a number of free surgeries and gave away free medications to people. We feel privileged to be associated, even in a small way, with this noble cause. I would like to ask Mr. Surya, our CEO, to please say a few words to welcome our esteemed guest to Icrea Infotech. Mr. Surya is also the founding member and CIO of LIG Global Foundation Inc. We know he is passionate of this responsibility and the driving force to make the Vikarabad camp a success. Please, sir.
Yeah, good evening everybody. Thank you so much for coming in. I have the privilege of the chief guest, Mr. K. Vakil. Come on to the dais, please.
Sir.
Mr. Vakil has been the first boss, and I proclaim myself that he is my mentor of my formative years. And he's been great, and I really look forward to longer association with him as well. And as well, Dr. Jain and Mrs. Jain for coming in. Chris Pamar, thank you so much for coming in. She's a great friend. She does so much great work for LIT. Erica. Alicia. There was a little difficulty in Alicia coming in, but we are so lucky that she finally made it, and it was a wonderful experience to have you here. I really appreciate Doctor for you coming in here today. Please come on here, and thank you very much for your advice in terms of what we should be doing. I do have a little presentation that would talk about, and Dr. Vijay, who is from a great friend of ours, Icrea Foundation. I would say that Vikarabad, whatever has happened is because it was a very chancy thing that we've had, that we came to know about Vikarabad at the last instance. And from then onwards to what we did here, and all the credit to Dr. Vijay and Dr. Rajshekar for having achieved this with us. Thank you so much, Vijay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rajshekar. And Dr. Rajshekar. I mean, he's not here today, but this has been an amazing cooperation, amazing support and help from both of us, both the organizations. Let me just, again, about Dr. Ernani, I think... You've forgotten. No, I'm starting. I'm just about starting. About Dr. Ernani, I guess all of us know him for such a long time. For me, he's the only adult friend I've made in my long life, and not just having known him as initially, like all of you know, I have gone to him as sourcing a client, became a good friend, became a partner, and driving spirit for this organization itself. And the many wonderful things that he has done in his life. He is a great inspiration. It's a book that can be written about him. But as you will see in my presentation, my inspiration stops at some point. That there's a reason for it. Let's start there. Pardon me? Definitely Dr. Ernani Visit. But my inspiration really stops here. Can never be a black belt karate. Can never be a black belt karate, right? I stop here. Absolutely. Cannot run 4, I do not know how many marathons. Stops here. I don't go beyond that. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is something which inspires me a lot. I always keep this photograph as my inspiration. I always keep this photograph as an inspiration for me, because this is where Ernani was on the fag end of his Ironman run. After completing how many hours, Ernani? I think I'll please talk about your Ironman. Tell about Ironman, Ernani. We don't know about it.
Ironman is a triathlon where you perform 3 consecutive events. You start by swimming, then you ride a bike, and then you run. Or in my case here, you crawl. It took me 16 and a half hours to complete. Altogether, it was about 140 miles.
He did tell some of the things that was happening here. When you're doing Ironman, you cannot take support from others. You cannot have a cell phone to talk to anybody else. And you can see it is very dark. He didn't tell you he had sores on his legs. He had cramps all around. And it was a torturous situation, and he still had to go further. And it was completely dark. There was nobody to look at. And that's why I said, stop here. I won't get inspired.
I came in second in the last place, but I finished.
Again, I won't get inspired here. Trying to, I won't climb Mount Kilimanjaro ever. I will not. But he did. And he says it's one of the toughest challenges which he did. I know which one can be toughest. How do you make it a relative? Well, I'll leave it for him to make the distinction of what is tougher and what is not tougher. For me, I stop there. I stop here, dead stop, no way. Absolutely no way. No way. Ernani is somewhere here. I don't know where he is. And this is after everything is done in Spain. When the bulls are running behind you, you've got to have something which makes you run before it. It's right, fear, turn, run for life. He does it. He did it. So thanks to Sarah, I think, I don't know how she survives. I simply don't know how she survives. Obviously, this is him. This is where it all begins. He's one of the most well-known, renowned surgeons in US all around. He's also Vice Chairman OBGYN, he was. He runs a practice, 3 practices, one of the largest practices in New Jersey, and always maintains that beautiful smile on his face. I say that is the biggest challenge I can ever think of. I just don't believe how anybody can accomplish. On top of that, he's a founder member of LIG, runs a number of countries, that every time he keeps his bags packed always, going around all the countries, so many countries I don't even know. I know that he's gone to Sudan, he's gone to Tanzania, he goes to Canada. How many times? 10 times? Then he must have gone to Haiti another 10 times. Then Philippines, India, and God knows where. So, I mean, just that, how does a bundle of power or energy that comes to make you do all these things and still be as committed to everything that you do, including, next one. Yeah, this is what I think I like this slide about. I picked up all these slides now. And this is what I call is a team spirit. He's always carrying people with him. This is a mudslinger, whatever it is. One of your 10,000 accomplishments. So I say that's a team player. Now I will say that you will see that we have built OBGYN under the guidance of Ernani. The team here completely get inspired and get connected completely. That was one of the best builds that we had. But that was, it must be most torturous because it's a distance is one thing, making people understand medicine is the other thing, and also getting an output of what you want is the other thing. And making organizations like Beth Israel to accept and get implemented is another thing as well. So, I mean, kudos to Dr. Ernani for doing that as well. So just I say that, that the team, he has been instrumental in starting Iton LLC, I would say. Though it was there, I went to him as a client. I had a baby that I had, which was a product in forming. But what it is today is definitely because of Dr. Ernani and Dr. Sarah for having supported and made that happen. And Icrea itself is also one of the babies of our friendship, our partnership, and the combined goals that we have together. Contemporary women's care, that is what he runs, the practices, individual practices. And then we have the LIG Global, which is, we call it as our destiny. So, and I truly say this, you inspire us, Ernani. Thank you so much, all the team here. Really get inspired by what you do and what you achieve and what you continue to do. And as you say, we are learning to get off the train. Thank you.
Who needs a publicity agent when you have Surya? But Surya is much too kind. I certainly can't take half the credit for all of these things. This is not possible without having friends, family, support of loved ones, and for just the God-given desire to help people. And so this is just a reflection of my lifelong mission to help as many people as I can. So again, thank you for coming. Thank you for such a wonderful reception. What I'd like to share with everyone, because so much has happened, is I'd like to just give you a brief history of how we got here and who we are. So I'd like everybody to understand what we can do and going forward, and just in this short time, even this week, the friendships and the partnerships that we're making, that we can all, join hands and continue to do, what we should be doing is to help our fellow mankind. So, my wife, Dr. Sarah Timapuri, which many of you know, is my better half, and I wish she was here because she should be the one that's giving this presentation. She is the brains of LIG Global, and I just smile. Please, next slide. So this is a presentation that we've given to many organizations and hospitals, but we titled it, it's International Charitable Medical Work, and it's about the lessons that we've learned and the lives that have changed, both for those who serve and for those who have been given help. So how did this all start? Well, in 2010, many of you remember the terrible earthquake that happened in Haiti, where overnight 200,000 people died, and 1 million people became homeless in one of the poorest countries in the Western Hemisphere to begin with. So that really just really shook us into action. And in response to that, that was my first step in getting out of my comfort zone and doing something in spite of my fears. So in March of 2010, 2 months after the earthquake, I went down with one of our residents from my hospital, really not knowing what to expect. We worked in this makeshift camp where we stayed in the tents, and it kind of looks like the camps that they had now for refugees, especially like in Syria. And what we saw there, was just unbelievable. And if you ever witness a natural disaster and firsthand, it's just so profound to see the level of suffering that it just makes you want to cry. You just see the pictures here. This is the presidential palace, just devastated. Hospitals, collapsed, where the doctors and patients died. And so not only was there so many people that needed medical attention, many of their doctors who could help them also were killed inside the hospitals. So there were only 90 patient doctors left after the earthquake. Next slide. So in that 1 week, we had such a tremendous experience, caring for, girls with amputations, delivering babies and taking care of anybody we could, that, I came back with my wife, Sarah, and 25 other doctors and volunteers from the United States. And next slide. And there we also learned, some important lessons. The need for innovation. When you don't have many resources, when you're not used to the things that you're accustomed to providing care, you have to find ways to, do the best that you can. So this is our operating theater, and you can see how it's made out of just wooden slabs. All of their supplies are in this big tent, and the most important tool we had was fly spotters, because there were so many, flies flying in the operating theater, and that we were just amazed at the innovation that took place here. This is a wheelchair that's made out of basically 2 wheels and a lawn chair, and this is for orthopedics. They needed traction, so they just rigged up this gasoline oil can to put traction on this patient's injury. Next slide. So this is what we learned. Next slide. This is our core team of volunteers that were there. We really learned the meaning of purpose. And when I say purpose, it's when we talk about, why are we here on earth? And we needed to do something in the service of something that's larger than ourselves. And because of this, we promised to do this as long as we can. So that's how our lives changed overnight. So this is our core group of initial volunteers from Haiti. So next slide. From this we formed this dream of 4 close friends, and the other picture is let's keep on that slide, of Dr. Ragu. But LIG Global was founded by my wife Sarah, myself, our best friend Surya, and Dr. Ragu. Next slide. Next slide. So our foundation is called an LIG. Next, sorry, but it really stands for Life is Great. And that's when we share through service with integrity. That's truly how we feel. Next slide. So from this next Life is Great came the LIG, and we added global because we really want to share with every community, everybody on the earth. Next slide. And keep going. And from this, we formed this charitable organization in September 4th, 2011. Next slide. So this is our vision statement. Our vision is that LIG Global Foundation vision is that of a global community in which all persons have access to excellent health care, where no one is forgotten and where their human dignity is cherished. Next slide. Keep going. Keep going. Our mission statement is, as we've heard, to deliver humanitarian relief to people in great need around the world by bringing together dedicated medical and non-medical volunteers, supplies, technology, and to learn about, integrate into, and work within the culture of the communities we serve in order to educate and train local personnel and thereby develop collaborative, self-sustaining satellites of excellence in healthcare in underserved areas. Next slide. And also, because we always try to bring our residents, our medical students, our pre-medical students, we want to inspire medical volunteerism, by educating healthcare professionals and facilitate their participation in these international charitable medical projects. And finally, our mission is to reach out to those who have been forgotten. Next slide. Just as a summary, in the 2 years that we've been formed, we've undergone 22 medical trips to date, with over 300 volunteers, working in 9 countries, performed over 600 surgeries, touching close to 6,000 patients, and through our network of donors, we've been able to donate $3 million worth of medical supplies, equipment, and medication. Next slide. So our first trip was in the Corpus district of Orissa. Keep going. Many of you are familiar with Orissa. It's a tribal area where communities really don't have access to any health care. They call this community the ultra poor, the poorest of the poor. And we are able to work in a small hospital. Keep going. Where we performed some basic surgeries. From this, we learned from this great distance, from the great resources it took for our team of 13 volunteers to perform 14, 15 surgeries, that it was a tremendous output, and we needed to find different solutions, such as telemedicine, or to train locals so that we can expand our reach without expending all the resources for us to go there. So we came back and we started training. This is a picture of me training one of the local health workers on the cervical cancer screening project, and this is just teaching her a basic speculum examination. Next slide. So this was in the Medak district. Next slide, sorry. And we encountered also professionals from King's Medical College, so they were already conducting these medical camps with cervical cancer screening, and so it was very heartening to see. So this is how we started to champion this mobile cervical cancer screening program. And we learned from this, that really the impact of highly motivated non-medical personnel. One of the trained persons was just a community health worker with really no medical because it's such a simple procedure that can be done by most anybody. This is why I really felt passionate about conducting these kinds of programs throughout the world. Next slide. Next slide. So this is one of the countries we work in. Next slide, the Dominican Republic. This area that we work in sits right on the border of Haiti and the Dominican Republic, just separated by this river. It's also a very poor community, so we worked in a small hospital here. We also worked in a small school nearby, and this is probably our biggest project right now, where we've had typically 50 to 60 volunteers that come twice a year. Next slide. So, and this is the special needs school that we've come to work with. And remember when I said that we seek to reach out to those who have been forgotten. In the country of the Dominican Republic, anybody who's different as a child is really looked at as a curse. And so they are almost cast aside by their families, by their communities. And so we found this one school that has many of these children who some are have physical disabilities, some they have emotional difficulties. So, but we were able to work with them each time, and little by little, give them all of these services. Next slide. And this is our last trip where we had 60 volunteers. Next slide. So the Philippines is where I'm from originally, and I went back. It's been many years since I was in the Philippines, so I was able to reconnect with my roots. And I first went with another group where they do these large-scale medical camps, and they see 7,000 patients a week. And I learned how the logistics of performing such an endeavor. As it stands, this is how I came to work closely with Dr. Chris Pomar, who is one of our directors at LIG. And Chris, I want you to come up and tell us a little bit about what Chris is doing.
I am the Surya of LIG in the Philippines. So we're conducting the medical camps in my hometown called Iloilo, and we launched it last year with, of course, surgeries and medical examination as inspired by the LIG vision and mission. However, as you have noticed, we have also expanded the services of LIG into the civic action. And one of our centers in the Philippines is a center for incest victims. So those children aged 5 to 18 are in a tough spot, because the people that are supposed to protect them are the people that abuse them. So they have a center that these children take refuge, and in line with the cervical cancer prevention program we were able to raise funds and give those children HPV vaccination. Although it may be some kind, as Dr. Ernani has lectured, some kind of a late stage, and also it's a shot in the dark. But when you're in that desperate situation, whatever hope we could give to people that are left out, we will grab onto. We also have educational experiences and working with teams of residents. In fact, Dr. Erica was with us in our first project there last January, and we're going back again in January, and we're expanding the VIA single visit approach, and we're launching it sometime in November.
And so this is just some of the photos from the Philippines, and as Chris had mentioned, all of the projects. And one of the big projects too is the telemedicine project that will be.
And Vikas was there with us twice.
Thanks to Vikas who set up the telemedicine. Next slide. Then I conducted some tours in Africa. So one of our first experiences there was the country of Tanzania. And this is a very beautiful country, but unfortunately the government makes it very hard for their people to get help. And we learned that we need the need to adapt to the environment, that you have to have patience resources. So this is where we learned the best way to help was to empower them with some form of education. So next slide, we trained them in doing, I'm sorry, can you go back forward? We trained them in taking care of newborn resuscitation. We did a program from the World Health Organization on helping babies deliver, it's called. And so we gave them the tools to at least try to perform quick action, for newborn babies. And hopefully we're going to come back and teach them to deal with things like postpartum hemorrhage. So hopefully they won't need to transport as many patients to the hospital. Next slide. Then recently, this past March, Sarah and I went to the country of South Sudan. This was a really eye-opening experience, much like Haiti. I don't know how much you know about the history of Sudan, but it's been a country that's been in civil war for decades, where typically the Arabs in the north battle the Africans in the south, and it's just brutal what they do to each other. And for many years, people from the north would raid the villages of the south. They would, kill whoever they got in their way. They would rape their women, and then to add the biggest insult, they would take whoever survived back to the north and have them work as slaves on their farms. So the Civil War ended 2 years ago, but there was nothing in the truce that allowed for the people who were abducted to return. So you can believe it now that there are actually these people who go up to the north to try to free the abductees and bring them back home and walk home. So what we did was we met these abductees as they walked back home for typically 7 to 10 days, and we met them at the border in the field just to give them basic, medical attention. And just unbelievable to see, how people, came back with, all kinds of injuries, from beatings from their slave masters. And you really can understand, the cruelties that some people can inflict on others. Next slide. Then we went to the country of Grenada, which is in the Caribbean. This is a small island nation, but has a medical school that is the biggest sort of source of employment for the island. So we partnered with that medical school, and we conducted some training programs, next slide, in surgeries, and we also started the cervical cancer screening project there. This is a photo of us teaching the local medical doctors, the examination. Next slide. And this is just photos of us training the local surgeons or doctors in laparoscopy. Next slide. So we talked about the evolution of LIG. We're just still amazed, how this all started with the dream of 4 close friends to now become an organization with over 300 active volunteers. We have 10 directors for each of our projects in each of these 9 countries around the world. We're committed to longitudinal follow-up of communities in person or via telemedicine. And we've distributed several $1 million worth of supplies and medications. And we're just greatly humbled by this incredible drive, the creativity, the initiative and dedication of our directors and volunteers, as well as the faith of the donors and the trust given to us by the medical communities whom we partner with. Next slide. Keep going. So what some of the unanticipated results is that we feel like this has become a movement. Keep going, Bernie. Next slide. Many of us, in our daily lives, we have jobs, we have families, we have responsibilities. Keep going, right? Keep going. But many times, we feel like you're doing the same thing and that you're stuck in a rut. Next slide. And that you're just kind of in an assembly line. Next slide. And not to mention all of the paperwork that many of us have to deal with in our jobs. Next slide. Sometimes the frustrations of dealing with all of the insurance companies that just drive us crazy. All of the small things in life that frustrate us on a daily basis. Next slide. So, and especially in the United States, where there's Obamacare that's coming now, and there's a lot of changes in healthcare. Many of us are confused as to what direction we'll take. Many of us grew up with this idea of medicine, where we are in a simple office, taken care of by our doctor who spends time with us. But now many of us feel like we work for big organizations where we are just isolated and just one person in a big corporation. Next slide, Bert. So again, what we found is that people are looking for a sense of purpose, and that's a deep inner yearning to do what we do in the service of something larger than ourselves. Next slide. Next slide. We also discovered that people want mastery, which is the desire to get better and better at something that truly matters. This is a picture from Haiti where we had 3 engineers that volunteered, and what had happened, because like in many countries where there's no reliable source of power, the generators failed, and in Haiti there were many patients in need of skin grafts because of the burns that they sustained, and so they needed this machine to get the skin grafts. This is a dermatome. So without the power, these surgeries couldn't be performed. So what they did was, they took car batteries and they jerry-rigged it to create a power source, and so they were able to continue to do the surgeries. Next slide. So, and then lastly, autonomy. This is an incredible idea in that, each of us, I think, have that inner desire to direct our own lives, to live up to our personal ideals, which sometimes, gets, pushed to the back when we have, responsibilities that, force us to focus on, just providing, for our families, for ourselves. Next slide, please. Next slide. So, but what's truly nice about, volunteering and serving others is that it radiates to those around us, especially our families, our children. This is a picture of our last trip to the Dominican Republic, where we brought 17 of our children, and to our amazement, they contributed so much. When given the opportunity, they learned, how to give of themselves and to be unselfish. And this is a photo of mother and the son. The son had difficulties in school and dropped out of high school and really was trying to find himself. And from this experience, he told his mother, I know now what I need to do. I need to do something to help others. Next slide. These are pictures of our families, and to share this with our families is the ultimate reward for us. Next slide. And this is our daughter Amina, which I pray to God she'll come with us next time, so you all can meet her. Next slide. So we know that we're just a small organization, and we're just a drop in the bucket, But as Mother Teresa has said, if you can't feed 100 children, then feed just one. Next slide. Next slide. So one of the things I'd like to just share in closing is just, that people always ask me, why do you do this? And I usually say that it's because, my life has been blessed 1,000 times, and I want to give back as much as, if not more, that I've been given. But when you give of yourself, that that it's not true. You get so much back that I feel like I'm the one that I should be thanking, those I'm helping. So, in other words, if you think of it as in return for the willingness to serve, we receive such a greater gift, which is that sense purpose, that worthwhile work to make a difference in the lives of others. So, and what the last lesson we learned was that, the only things that are truly impossible, next slide, Lori, are those that we never attempt. So, that's why So yeah, I just wanted to bring Surya back up because, we wanted to share with you some of our future goals here. And we wanted to announce, because of the incredible commitment we have here, the incredible people that we've met and the partnership that we've made, that we wanted to, form a chapter of LIG called LIG Global India. And with Mr. Surya as our
really, the team here is so eager to participate, and I think this is an inspiration of what we hear, and I guess we can definitely work towards the common goals, and definitely look for the happiness one can derive by learning to serve and help others. That is immense pleasure that I'm beginning to learn right now. Thank you.
Look forward to working with Dr. Jain and his wife and Mojave General Hospitals and the BIA projects, Dr. Vijay, Dr. Rajshekhar with their foundation and of their home for their children.